live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. We return after this break.
From the line to the land beyond the mountains.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network. And joining me in this conversation this hour, a public affairs analyst. I'm talking about confidence twaddle.
Thank you very much.
Well, I don't know what happened. I think I'm about to comment on your outfit and you're already laughing. Honestly, you look good.
Thank you very much.
You look good. And how have you seen? How is the protest so far?
We thank God, at least in some part of the country, especially in the southern part, to some extent.
Okay.
And you never can rule out pockets of violence here and there when it comes to peaceful protests. You know, we do Sunday and but we thank God we've been able to curtail it to this point, and you know, all Nigerians are free to air their minds.
Did you participate in any of those?
Yes,
any
at least.
day?
Was it on Friday? Yes.
You were there?
I was out to actually lend my voice.
Now, what was the result so far?
It was peaceful, but just that after the long trek, you know, the body pains and all of that. But at least we
did something. I was almost moved to ask you where you are coming from, but I forgot that because you're almost looking like some part of. I mean, it's okay. All right, then let's look at the first story from Taraba State. Taraba State government has announced it has not yet received the 20 trucks of rice promised by the federal government to each state. State Commissioner for Information and Reorientation, Barrister Zenab Osman Jalingo, told ATN over the weekend that the state is still awaiting the promised food items. She added that the Commissioner for Special Duties, Saviour Noko, has not received any communication from the federal government regarding the dispatch of the rice. Jalingo stated, as far as Taraba State is concerned, we have not received the 20 trucks of rice. The only rice distributed to the youths who protested due to hunger was purchased by the state government through ALGON and was already in stores before the governor ordered it to share. Okay, this is not the first state that has actually talked about the distribution of rice. You remember that a particular governor came out. This is about the second governor that has come to say that the rice that was sent by our president, that's from federal government, they have not gotten it. And one will wonder why that is possible, because of course the report it had was that some bags of rice were actually signed out. 20 trucks of rice for each state was signed out, and the receipt was there. There was someone signed and so before pushing it out. So who signed the rice? It has to be someone, a representative from the state. And arriving the state, someone definitely have to sign to collect. But the federal government said that all the local governments, all the states, 36 states have collected, but 2 governors has come out to say they have not gotten it yet, and Taraba State is included. What do you think about that? And for your information, this was to alleviate the economic hardship in the country. That was even before the protests.
You know that it goes to show that we are not getting it right in this country. You know, when you spend money to purchase this food item, bags of rice, you know, going up to 20 trucks, you know, and you can't really account for it, it shows that there's a fundamental problem. For those who, you know, need to be informed, each truck can carry at least 1,200 bags of 25 kg, you know, bags of rice. Each truck, and you've pushed out 20 to a particular state. That is, you know, you've spent so much on this thing and it has not gotten to the end users. It's a problem, you know, and we need to probe into some of these things. We shouldn't just sweep it under the carpet, because like you rightly stated, some persons have to sign it out and some persons are responsible to sign it in, you know, sign in that you've collected. And if the state government has come up to say that, you know, my aide in charge of, you know, special duties have not received this, it's a big problem. It's a big problem. You know, we now need to trace who has diverted this. It goes to, you know, to tell us so much about when dealing with the public, when the federal government is dealing with the public as a result with as it results to students' loan. You know, you come out to say you've given loan to students, you've given palliative to market women, you've given fertilizers to farmers, and at the end of it, the persons that are supposed to get these things are not getting it. Then there is a problem. Money has been released for these things to be purchased. You have even paid to who distributed it. All of these persons have to come out and start answering these questions, because it's a very simple thing. It's not rocket science to do. It's a very simple thing. Who did you give it to? I gave it to this person. Okay, who did you give it to? If you agree with me that, okay, it left my hand and you collected it, have you agreed to that point? Yes. Okay, where did you send it to? Is it to Taraba State? Yes. Who received it there? You point the person. This is very simple thing. It's not what we need to, you know, start praying and fasting for God to reveal to us. No. It's a very simple matter, but our government lack the will to do all of these things. And I bet you that this matter may not come up again, because this is the end of it. This is probably the end of it.
Okay, so in a situation that about 34 states have received their own products, because so far from 34 states, no other governor has complained except from these 2 states that we are talking about. Do you think that it could be a mistake, or maybe, of course, we have been hearing about looting, that something of such could happen, and if it has happened, don't you think that the governors in question are actually at fault, because they are supposed to put measures to make sure that this thing gets to them? Just like calling you to let you know that I have sent out your way bill. It is your duty to call the driver to make sure that the thing has gotten to your destination. So did you think that they did not do enough to make sure that this gets to their states?
You know, you have rightly said something now. The Taraba State government itself cannot be excluded from her own share of the blame. You know, the truth here is that if at all the federal government has released this and several other states have received theirs, then, you know, they need to do some questioning within them there, you know, who actually received this and, you know, as a representative representing Taraba on our behalf, who received of rice, and such persons should now come out to, you know, tell us where they have kept it over time, and if at all they have used it judiciously. No, because this matter is very, very appalling, very, very appalling, because it was taxpayers' money that was used in purchasing these bags of rice, and the Taraba state government cannot just come out to make these claims and not properly, you know, defend themselves. They should be ready to defend themselves, stating clearly that they have not received it, you know, like you...
Which is what they have done.
Yes, like you have mentioned, you've called to say that you have sent a way bill to me, you know, but in this case now, the delivery person is from you, you know. You are the one sending the delivery person. You have paid for the logistics. Mine is just to acknowledge that I have received and receive it, you know, in person. But I shouldn't be bothered about how it will be transported to me, unless, you know, the agreement between the state governors and the federal government to carry from our store or our warehouse.
Okay, but now look at it.
Yes.
These items that were sent, it wasn't yesterday.
Yes.
Neither was it last week.
Okay.
All right. So if you have gotten the information that some items has been sent to your state for the citizens, so alleviate the economic hardship,
yes,
for 2 weeks, and nothing has been done, because with what we saw here, we didn't see where the governor said, we put a call through, and this is what they said. We did not see where the Minister of Information said, this Commissioner for Information said, this is what they said. They only said they are still waiting to get rice. But aside that, do you think that these 20 trucks of rice is enough to actually alleviate this economic hardship on the people?
You know, first, answering the first question, I would like to say that, you know, the government of the state government in Nigeria actually don't feel too concerned, because, you know, it's not directly going into their pockets. If the federal government has said we are sending you so billion of naira for you to purchase these bags of rice to distribute, they will press for that money to come, because it is going to get to them directly.
Oh, okay.
But because bags of rice, and what you are just to do is to distribute to some persons here and there, how many can you carry to your house? Oh. You know, so they wouldn't be so enthusiastic about it, so whether it comes or not. You know, they just feel relaxed. So that is the case here. That is the case here. That is the case here. It's because it's not cash. If it were to be cash or something they're interested in, you know, these persons don't. Their problem is not this rice like you and I. You know, their problem is the money. How many, even no matter the billions, they have where to store it. You understand? So that is the case here. So about the and how far it can go to alleviate the poverty level in the states. You know, the truth is that I believe that the federal government did not roll out these trucks to ensure they end hunger in the land. It's just to see how to contribute their own, you know, little, to ensure that, you know, if people were not eating at all 3 times or no time in a day, you know, they can at least eat once in a day or once in 2 days, while the state government and the local government also do their own bit, and you know, family members, friends, and all of such see how to, you know, help one another. And you know, that is just it, because you know, when it comes to things like this, I believe that this money should be, you know, channeled into doing better things than just purchasing some few persons, and at the end, you know, just like we have seen it now, it wouldn't even get to the hand of those that actually need it. Because if it's got to Taraba State himself, what are the modalities on ground to actually distribute this to those that really, really need it? Well,
the same way other states did, they will actually get ideas from there. All right, then let's look at the next story for today on Biafra. Indigenous people Biafra criticized the Igbo Must Go campaign in Nigeria Southwest and called for referendum for the Igbo to exist in Nigeria. IPOB accused high-ranking officials in the Lagos and federal government of sponsoring the campaign and urged caution against Southerners. Igbo Emmanuel's Powerful dismissed the Lagos State's governor's condemnation of the campaign as hypocritical, asserting that Ndibo would not succumb to the threat and are prepared to leave Nigeria via a referendum. Nevertheless, Ndibo are not a pepper-bed. We have seen it all in Nigeria and we are prepared for any opportunity to exit Nigeria at any time. But it will be more appropriate for us to be allowed to exit Nigeria peacefully and democratically in order to maintain good neighboring relationships. However, if Ndibo is forced to exit Nigeria violently, there's a possibility that we will all remain hostile neighbors for the foreseeable future. The Yoruba tribes by God and their sponsors must understand that Ndibo is not moved by threat. We have made up our mind to exit Nigeria, so there is no bias for the threat of violence or genocide agenda. Target Ndibo must go. Their protest, instead of threatening to unconstitutionally and violently force Ndibo out of the Yoruba region, they should tell President Tinubu, their brother, to release Nnamdi Kanu and to organize a referendum for Ndibo to decide between Biafra and Nigeria. We will gladly vote and leave Nigeria and the Yoruba region in peace. We are demanding this so they can have peace after we have gone. Ndibo is more enthusiastic about existing Nigeria than it was in 1960. The ongoing End Bad Governance protest in Nigeria was organized by Yoruba and Fulani to lure Ndibo into destruction. But Ndibo has learned their lesson, though Ndibo declined to participate in the ongoing protests. Yet they are being attacked and accused of being behind the protest. One can imagine what would have become of Ndibo in the northern and western region if they had taken part in the ongoing protests. Ndibo had also been a victim of every protest in Nigeria. Though Ndibo is facing the same economic hardship that Tinubu's government has imposed on Nigerians, however, to avoid being targeted as always and decided to shun the protests, the scenarios that led to the genocidal war against Biafra in 1967-1970 is rearing its ugly head. Ndibo is not only facing essentially threats from the western region but also from the northern region. We are calling Ndibo in the north and west to think home as fast as possible. No amount of threats will make IPOB retreat from our divine mandate of restoring Biafra. We are calling on the community to essentially threat against Igbo in Nigeria. The human rights organization United States, European Union, African Union, all lovers of freedom should understand that Biafrans are endangered species in the conception called Nigeria. The ethnic profiling and hatred against Ndibo are gearing in the area of security, politics, and economics in Nigeria. It's the silencing the request for Biafra referendum is indirectly supporting genocide against Ndibo and Biafrans. Just like our forebears and our heroes defend the Biafran people and land, the present generation of Biafrans have decided to remove our territory from Nigeria and defend the genocidal war spearheaded by Britain in 1967. The generation of Biafran is determined to defend ourselves from those who want to annihilate us. We are not interested in the call for the arrest of Igbo must go criminal elements, because we know what happened will not happen to them. We are just a dog of the big masquerade in Yoruba land led by the Senate and federal government. We advise them to channel their energy in convincing President Tinubu to please release Nnamdi Kanu and schedule a death. Ndibo to leave Yoruba land is a sign of weakness and cowardice. Ndibo are ready to exit Yoruba land and Nigerians just like yesterday. All right, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has actually this, that Ndibo must go, because in the southwest of Nigeria, they have taken it to Twitter to protest that Ndibo must actually leave. But they are saying that they are not interested about what the Lagos State governor has come to say, that what they are interested is for them to actually yield to this referendum, and they are ready to leave Nigeria. And of course, you have seen it online on social media platforms that Ndibo should leave Nigeria, should leave Lagos State. And so far, it has been a also northern part. It's not just from the southwest, it's also from the north that threaten them, and they don't want to hear anything again. They just want to leave. And it's a Magos power, of course, that's their leader that is actually saying all of this. So
you know that a country like ours, where we have cultural groups and interest groups, some of these things are bound to happen. Some persons in the western part of the country are feeling like the Igbos, with their domineering, have come to dominate and doing business, dominating their areas and ensuring that they themselves get little or nothing. And as a result, they want Igbos to leave, especially in the northern part. But all of these calls should not be supported by well-meaning Nigerians, because in this country, I feel that we all need each other to survive. But for the Igbos in some part of this country, some business will not be thriving. If they leave that business for some indigenes, can they do it and do it very well? So why come out to, on Twitter and stating that at later part of this month you would, be on the street protesting that Igbos should leave Lagos? What will be your benefits? Do you mean there are no Yoruba person in the East doing business and all of such? What about those that are serving there, serving the country in the East, the Westerners that are serving the country? Are you trying to drum or beat another drum of war in this country?
So, exactly. Don't you think that this is actually going to bring another phase of war? Because if Igbos leave Lagos State,
yes,
the Southeast, there's every tendency that they will also want them over here to go back to their land.
It will sincerely be an eye for an eye. You've chased us out of your own place. So what are your people doing over here? Especially those of them that may be in the East there and doing very well. Simply what we were just, if we support this kind of emotion, what we are just doing is to beat the drum of war again and start putting this country under unnecessary tension. Because what it will just lead to is those, everybody go back to your region and see what you can make out of yourself over there. And that wouldn't be so peaceful, because some persons have, been in diverse places, earning a living or making a living out of that place throughout their life. Some persons have not, they are Yoruba people, but they have not even, left the East where they are to their village. Some Igbo people are over there in Yoruba land, and they don't even know the way back to, their village. Likewise, the Hausas and several other tribes in Nigeria. People have learned to adapt and dwell where they felt, they have been able to flourish. So if you start, everybody go back to your region, go back to your state, go back to your community, in fact, that would be so bad.
But now that the governor has actually come out to condemn, like I said, but they are saying that the condemnation of their campaign is hypocritical. What do you think about that?
The issue there is that, the governor, like he should always do, must come out to condemn things like this. And like I said, every well-meaning Nigerian should come out to condemn this. But to them saying that, for them saying that it's hypocritical, it's because they feel that, the government is just condemning it in the open, and you know, behind they are the ones, like you properly read, they see these people as, you know, the attack dogs of some of those politicians that cannot actually come out in the open and make this statement. You remember just about some few years ago, when the just concluded election was, you know, at the climax, you know, of his campaign, where, you know, some persons were like, you know, Lagos State was, you know, actually won by the Labour Party itself. And this, you know, was bringing up the debate that because of the dominant, you know, nature of the Igbos in the East, that was why that was possible. And this is what, you know, so many politicians came up to, you know, start drumming for the Igbos to leave the West. Why? They have, in fact, they are beginning to dominate. They want to dominate the politics of the West. They have dominated the market, you know, and all of such. So, you know, all of these are just hate speeches. And like the IPOB leader or the spokesperson, Ima Powerful, has said, he's seeing it as hypocritical because he feels that this is what most politicians in the eastern part of the country want. They actually want Igbos to leave the land for them, and he is demanding for a referendum.
So do you see positivity of them living there?
I don't think. I think this is just one of those things that will just come and go. You know, sometimes in this country we need, or we make ourselves unnecessarily distracted. You know, I feel this is one of those distractions that will just fade away in a few weeks or few months to come. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Confidence to Adon. This is Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network. We return after this short break.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network, and now the rest of our stories. Committee for the Defense of Human Rights has called for the reversal of fuel subsidy removal and the ongoing End Bad Governance protest. In a statement, CDHR criticized President Bola Tinubu's recent address for lacking timelines on promises and urged the government to provide concrete timelines and address hyperinflation by reinstating the subsidy and reversing the electricity tariff hike. They also condemned the student loan scheme inadequate, advocating for grants and scholarships in state. CDHR demanded investigations into human rights violations during the protest, while cautioning against violent protests have seen arrests, violence, and looting, with security forces responding to incidents. All right, the human rights has come up with an idea, and of course, it's not just an idea that is meant for a particular organization, a particular body. It is something that we are all clamoring for, that they should bring back. They should undo what they did. Let's put it that way. They should undo what they did about fuel subsidy, all right? There was a removal of fuel subsidy, which a lot of Nigerians are suffering from, including you.
Yeah.
And you told me when we started that you protested and your body was paining you. So we don't want to continue protest. And they are saying that the government should bring back this. Do you think that is going to work out? Because, of course, we saw that the president actually came out to address Nigerians. But so far, what the people are clamoring for did not seem to be in the speech. And even though it was not being really specific, because when he talked about that we are now producing, it didn't tell us the time. There was no timeline. There was not. We were just. It was just. I don't know. But do you think that this is possible?
Okay, I feel that this government is not responding to the needs and feelings of yearnings of Nigerians. You know, what is on ground now is that, you know, government in the world, when they come up with policies, after testing it for some time and they're seeing that, you know, it's not working the way they expected, what they do is to go back and re-strategize.
Okay.
Or go back to the former policy that was on ground. You know, the first day, before you even got to your office, right from the Eagle Square where you were inaugurated, you declared that fuel subsidy is over. Before you got to your office, filling stations in the villages have increased the price of PMS that were that they had. You know, you cause spike almost immediately. It means that, you know, you don't have basic economic sense to me, because those advising him, if they had, you know, they wouldn't you know, allow the government to make such speech on the day of inauguration, knowing the reaction that can spring forth. And since then, Nigerians have been buying this you know, petrol at a very high price. And the government have not even looked back on this policy. They've not considered going back on it for one day, you know. And yes, you have removed the subsidy on fuel. So how are we, you know, how is the money, you know, helping us? The money we have gained from fuel subsidy, where is it reflecting? Is it in our education? Is it in agriculture? Is it reflecting in our fight against terrorism in this country? Where in this country is that money reflecting? How has it helped us in this country? You know, how have you been able to alleviate the pain that may arise from, you know, the removal of fuel subsidy in other sectors of the country? You have not responded to it. That is why the people are saying, bring it back. Let us know that this is the only thing you're doing for us. You know, because at that point we are buying fuel in Nigeria for 200, 210, 230. But now fuel is about 800. Some persons even bought at some point in this country for 1,000 naira. So, you know, that is why they are calling, demanding that fuel subsidy should be, you know, brought back.
So what do you also think about the student loan scheme? Is it adequate enough? Because they are also saying that it is better, scholarship is more appropriate than this, because of course, you know, this is a loan. Loan means that you got to pay back.
Truly.
Yes. So what do you also think about it? You think that the government did the right thing? Because I remember that some individuals came up to say, yes, the president has done at least a lot. They mentioning a few, and then the other students loan scheme. I mean, and they are saying that this is not very okay for Nigerians. So what's your take on it?
You know, the truth is that we have so many graduates in Nigeria now that are just roaming the streets. In fact, they have become even poorer than they were when they were students. Because as students, you know, you can cry to your uncle somewhere and he would, you know, just send you some amount of money to manage for the weekend. You run to your auntie somewhere, they consider you as a student. But the day you inform them that you are done with that school, you no longer have any grant to, you know, cry to anybody. Because they now see you as a man, they see you as a woman to go and start fending for yourself. So, you know, in fact, it is even more easier to be a student in this country than to be a graduate nowadays. I
don't understand that. Why do you say that?
Honestly speaking, like I rightly pointed, as a student, you can, in the name of being a student, run to somebody and they will help you. You know, how many graduates have you seen doing rag day in this country, even if nothing is coming out of it? But students can comfortably... It's a means. Students are comfortably wear their ID card and start racking, you know, collecting money here and there, gathering some amount of money to help themselves. But as a graduate, you will stay in your house looking for jobs. So that is why this student loan thing is not sustainable. Because these persons will graduate, and for them to get the job that will enable them pay for that loan is it's almost impossible. So why not just give them scholarship at once, so that they will know that the federal government saw them through school?
So you're not in support of
it is not sustainable. We cannot maintain it, because these persons you have given this loan, in the next 2 years after graduation, you expect them to start servicing the loan, which is not feasible. In fact, they become poorer than they were when they were students. I am telling you of a fact. Some persons now are beginning to calculate very well
whether they want to graduate or not.
Honestly,
how will you go to school and not having a plan to live?
For a fact, some persons are beginning to calculate, when to go for service now, especially looking at the new minimum wage bill signed into law. Because if you go now, you will still be receiving the normal 33,000 naira, and they are looking forward to when the implementation will come up for them to receive about 70,000 and above. Some persons are calculating that, targeting it, seriously. So that is the situation we find ourselves in this country now. Okay. And we just have to, keep away some of these policies that are, against the people. Why not give them scholarship? Let's know, because Nigerians can comfortably sponsor some students in school.
All right, now before we go to the next story, let's just look at this tariff hike, electricity tariff hike, and they also talk about it. The idea now is for the government to completely eradicate what they did. So do you think that that's even going to be possible? Because like we said so far, the president has not said anything yet that the people want to hear.
The government is not responding. Look at the speech that was just made on Sunday. You will know that, in fact, when I read it, I was angered. I became bitter than I were, We were expecting the president to come up and tell us something, that will at least, reduce our anger. But he sounded very, to me, arrogantly, and, proving that he has not been listening to the yearnings of Nigerians all along. And that is in fact very pathetic, very, very pathetic. And they're not doing anything to respond to the demands of the people. At area of removal of fuel subsidy, reduction of the tariff, hike in the electricity, and
inflation.
All of this. You are no step. You didn't tell us how you are or what you will do to ensure you reduce some of these things and reduce the pain people are feeling. All you are just pouring out is threats here and there.
Well, you call it a threat.
That is how I see it.
The president actually is saying it as a solution.
It's a show of force to me.
All right, and the last story for today on education. Joint Admission and Matriculation Board has given Nigerian tertiary institution 1 month to disclose all admissions conducted outside a central admission processing system before 2017. This directive, announced by JAMB's Public Communication Advisor, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, aims to enhance transparency and curtail illegal admission. Institutions failing to comply will see these undisclosed admissions unrecognized. JAMB also reaffirmed the minimum admission age of 16 years for the 2024-2025 section. Additionally, it announced unappropriate daily part-time and top-up programs get offered by some polytechnics and universities, highlighting this as fraudulent practices. All right, so you could tell that, of course, when we're talking about the age of students that should gain admission into university, is no longer 15 years, because, this actually came up when we realized that we have a 16-year-old student outside from Nigeria in Despera that is going for PhD. Yeah. When did you gain admission into school? That was a problem. They had to call Nigeria's authority to ask what exactly is going on here. But that's by the way. And then we also realized that Polytechnic, like they talked about HND, that some of these programs are not being recognized by JAMB. So when it's time for NYAC, they get to have serious issues with them that universities should review and also know what to do. And of course, you know that in some university programs, some of them gain admission like I did. It was through, what's it called? one of those programs. Yes, even though it was well organized and with JAM, as in the Lias Beta, everything was perfect. But most of them do not recognize. And I'm wondering, why should schools be admitting students that did not go through the right process, when we also know that to even fund education in Nigeria is actually a little bit difficult for some persons? So why doing that? That one will spend 4 years in school, and then at the end you realize that you didn't pass through the right process.
You know, that is one of the reasons why several calls have been made as to scrapping the JAM itself. You know, but when you look at these issues, you would know that at least there is need for all of these parties to work together. If we've agreed that JAM should stay, you know, universities should collaborate with JAM and ensure that we work in synergy. You know, someone getting admission in Sokoto should go through the same process whereby someone getting admission in Port Harcourt is, you know, undergoing. And by so doing, that is how we can see ourselves as, you know, one country where, you know, there's equal opportunity. The same thing you do here, you get the same result here in the West or in the South. It's the same process when you go to the East, you do and you get the same result. And looking at some of these schools that, you know, give admission without, you know, letting JAM understand or know how come about it, it's really a problem, because I don't know what they stand to gain by doing that. But one thing about Nigeria and Nigeria's system is that, you know, there are always loopholes for people to exploit. JAM should start looking at these loopholes and closing them, because it's not going to do us any good. It will only raise dust and cause chaos in the country. And somebody just finishing these 4 years he had to spend in university and coming out wanting to go for National Youth Service, you found out that, you know, you didn't get admission through the right process. It's very pathetic. So
who should actually be held responsible for that? Is it the school authority or the students? Because you remember that these students, before they passed through the 4 years, they actually paid the necessary fees. They did all that was required from school. And now time for you to go for NYC is not a problem with JAM, which it means that you still have to pay. So who's supposed to take responsibility for that? Is it the school authority or the students?
I think that the school authority should bear the last chunk of the blame here, because, you know, for you to...
The large?
Yes.
So students have a little to bear?
Yes, because, you know, when it comes to that area, at least you should understand the law now. Because like the states, you know, the ignorance is not an excuse. JAM has come out clearly, you know, unequivocally to state that, you know, gaining admission must be through the right channel. And if there is any means you have gone through to gain admission, which it's not through writing the JAM and the post-UTM and all of such, you should begin to, you know, ensure that the school that gave you that source admission, you know, re-register you through the right channel and follow the due process. That is why the students should take at least a little bit of this blame, but the university at large should take the last chunk of it, because you know, you have opened a department and called people to come and get admitted into that department, and you are not sure, or you have not rectified that with the national body itself that is responsible for giving student admission. I mean, it's a very bad thing to do, and I don't know, like I said, what they stand to gain by doing some of this. And JAM itself should come out with stringent measures to ensure that people that do this don't necessarily go unpunished, and you know, we see how to shut down some of these loopholes for a better country.
How many times did you write JAM?
I think I sat for JAM twice. Yes.
Just twice?
Twice.
You're such a lucky boy. All right. Thank you so much, Confidence Wado.
It's all right.
It was beautiful having you here.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And are you going to continue the protest after now?
I think with what the president just said on Sunday, it's triggering many of us
to protest. So don't you think they're disobeying the federal government because they said do not protest?
No. We are not. Protest is the right of every human being on earth, especially Nigerians.
Especially Nigerians.
Because we are in a worse situation.
All right, thank you so much, our viewers, for staying patiently. I am Immaculata Ibrika. If you missed out, you can join us on all our media platforms: Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X, Atlantic TV Net. You can also watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for joining us and continue to watch ATN Social. Still, we come your way next time. Good afternoon.